For week 10, I provide an update on how progress in life is generally going. Then I show how I'm walking and what exercises I'm doing. I've put the timestamps in the description of the video. Also, if you haven't seen my main video on non-surgical recovery and early weight-bearing tips for new patients, I've put a link to that as well. So it's day 69. I've been walking without the boot indoors and on flat surfaces indoors for a week now, and things are improving slightly. There's sort of less pain, a little bit more strength in the calf. The calf itself feels a bit more like the left rather than like a bag of jelly. So I'm able to walk a little bit better indoors. It's still relatively slow and still a bit painful. The tendon is still tight, but that's better than it being loose. And it's nice to know that it hasn't healed long. But everything I've done along the way protected it, kept it in plantar flexion, that sort of thing, has no doubt helped with getting the tendon to heal nice and tight. So now it's just a case of stretching it out. The exercises I got a week ago, apart from walking around indoors, include calf raises, starting with 90% weight on the left and 10% on the right, and doing the seated calf raises with the heel pulled back to provide some level of stretching in the tendon without weight, sort of maximum stretch before the heel lifts off the ground, and doing 10 to 15 reps of those calf raises with the compression bandage, and doing that 5 to 10 times a day. So I'm going for 10 more often than not. And then doing pretty much the same thing, but not necessarily with like a full stretch. But doing the same thing with a weight on the knee. Similar to before, but now the weight is starting from 15 kilos and trying to move my way up to 50. So I've had some success with calf raises. I was able to do 30 kilos, but the key point that I was missing with that was not getting full extension. So my physio said that full extension is preferred over heavier weight, and the calf is regaining a bit of strength, which is encouraging considering how strong it used to be. So it's sort of no surprise to me that suddenly I could do 30 kilos, but the downside was that it was probably, like 80% of range. So really I should be aiming for 100%. I've dropped it back. I was playing with 15, 20 kilos as well. So going for full extension is more important, at least at this stage, and probably will continue to be. And I don't see why you'd be trying to strengthen up only part of the range. The same thing applies to the heel raises as well. So they're pretty weak. If I put too much weight on the right, it gives way so easily. So it is, even though it has regained some strength, it's still pretty weak. So once again, going for 100% range with the heel lifts. And that's a bit hard to gauge because you're doing the exercise and you're doing what you think feels right. I had to video myself during the week just to test out what I felt was matching up with what it should be, and I'm glad I did, because I thought I was at 100% at one point, doing it a certain way, driving the ball of the foot into the ground, but there was this extra bit of play at the height, and I wasn't sure if that was because I was coming up more onto my toes or because I was missing that top 10-20% of range, but I was missing the top 20% of the range. So yeah, just taking it easy with the exercises, taking it easy with the walking. The good thing is I just started showering last night, standing up rather than sitting down. now that I've got more confidence in the right leg. So this is nearly, I'm almost at 10 weeks. That doesn't make sense. Nope, obviously can't do basic maths 7 times 10. So tomorrow will be day 70. That means that 10 weeks will have passed. So at about the 10 week mark, now I'm walking around rather happily in the apartment or indoors without the boot, putting the boot back on to go outside or to take stairs and that kind of thing. Luckily there's no stairs in the apartment. The only thing is stepping in and out of the shower, and started doing that last night. So being able to shower standing up is quite nice. It's been 10 weeks of sitting down either in the bathtub or when I was using my main shower, hopping into and out of that with the cast or the boot wrapped up in a bag, and that initial stage was pretty hard. I really should have just gone to the bath. That was a lot easier. Not really sure what else to say. It's coming along all right. It's pretty slow going, and I know that, but it's just sad. It's just annoying how long it takes. And at the same time, if I wish it all to be over, then that's 9 months of my life that I'm wishing away in a sense. So I guess what I want is to be back to full form, full function. In a month or two, things will most likely be quite different to what they are now, and I hope they are, because I'm going to be overseas traveling. But yeah, I look at how far away I am from being back to normal, or at least what a new normal is going to look like. Getting back to martial arts and getting back to being more active, and it's still a very long way away before I'm back to sparring and moving around with the footwork and everything, being able to rely on the right as being probably my strongest limb. Out of all four, the right leg is my strongest limb. So being able to drive as well, looking forward to being able to drive. Luckily I don't have to really drive anywhere. The main thing was getting to martial arts while driving, or driving to martial arts. But because I can't do martial arts, that removes the need to drive. So really it's getting to my physio appointments, which takes a little bit longer by public transport, but I mean, so be it. It's not too bad. I get some time to chill out on the bus. Could always Uber if I really wanted to, or take a taxi, but it's not a big deal at the time. Maybe record some exercises. So just a video of how I'm walking now, and to compare it to last time. About a week ago I was very hesitant and it was more painful. Now I can feel the calf is still not as strong as I need it to be able to walk properly, but at least the steps are becoming more normal, especially if I just take my time and really thinking about the calf activating. That was the thing that the physio pointed out, that you need it to be moving in the same way as the left one does. So you get to where your heel lifts off the ground and it should be doing work. What you don't want to happen, I guess, is to get to this point and not have the calf activate. So then you end up just pulling it off the ground like you're limping around like this. And I guess what the physio was also warning about was you get to this point and you're sort of overstretching it and the muscle hasn't tensed for that pushing off action. So what you're actually doing is potentially damaging it while it hasn't prepared for the muscle action. So there's no contraction, so it's possible that you get into a situation where some people tear their Achilles. They walk backwards and the ball of the foot goes onto a step. They don't realize there's a step there, and then the heel goes down and the muscle hasn't tensed, so they're not ready for it. So that's part of the walking, is just getting the calf activated, making sure it's doing work, and then ultimately that's acting as an exercise as well. So I'm still using the Sports Rehab tourniquet for blood flow restriction, and I've got my cut up bike tire tube that I'm using as a compression bandage, and I'm still playing around with how to get it on at what I think it should be. I'll probably have to clarify with the physio, but I do remember it being sort of a similar feeling in terms of restriction, and the wording of the physio was that it should feel a bit like a cuddle, but feels, relatively, it's tight and form-fitting. It's not loose, and the idea is we're compressing the Achilles to help force out some of the other fluids and things that are in there, as far as I know. So pulling the heel back until it's just no longer making contact with the ground, so I can feel it's off the ground there, so just pull it back a bit forward, and once again going the heel lift, and now I'm holding for 3 seconds and then dropping the heel, and the weight under the heel now should be just enough to squash a bug. So 15 reps like this, and I generally count 3, 2, 3, down, 4, 2, 3, down, 5, 2, 3. And I try and do these on the hour, and then when I get to 10 during the day, then that's it, I'm done. If I don't get to 10, it's not too bad, because at least I've been attempting every hour. So I should have at least done the minimum 5 sets. Problem with talking and recording is now I've actually lost track of how many I've done, but it's about 12 somewhere. So the other seated exercise is similar to before, except rather than having the heel under the knee, heel comes back, and I'm not going for as much of a stretch as with the unweighted ones. This one, bring the heel back, but not so much, and just going for a lift. Once again, the key is getting full extension. Now I'm just demonstrating with the 10 kilo weight, because really I should be doing 15 kilos, working up to 50 kilos. But this is the idea. And something I've had to do was look at how much of an extension this is and go, all right, that's about what I'm aiming for with the weight on. If the weight's on and I'm only getting there, then I know that I'm not getting the full benefit of the exercise and hurting myself in the long term. So it's better go for lower weight and still get that full extension like that, driving the ball of the foot into the ground. So these ones I've been holding, but in reality they're just up to the top, down. So this is pretty easy with 10 kilos. Nice, in relative terms anyway. So 5 to 10 of those. So the final exercise given to me a week ago. So 2 calf raises, and once again going for 100% full extension on the right, even if that means that I'm not getting as much weight on the right. So starting with roughly 90% on the left leg, and go hands against the wall and just lifting up, digging the ball of the foot into the ground, trying to feel the tension in the calf, and holding for 10 seconds. Pushing up through the calf, digging it into the ground, and digging the ball of the foot into the ground, I mean. And the thing that I found was that if I thought I had weight on it, it felt like this, but in reality I need to get it to about there, and that means taking the weight off the right, unfortunately. So it sort of shows how weak the right one is. It just gives way very easily. But the full extension is more important than loading it up at this stage. And that's 10 reps for 10 seconds, and I do 2 to 3 sets of that once to twice a day.
If you found this or my other videos helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like or subscribe to the channel. That lets YouTube know that you like the content, and it'll help get this information out there to other Achilles rehab patients. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.